The stars above burned like tiny diamonds in the endless black sky. On the barren surface of planet Zyra 9, a lone figure ran across the rocky plains, her breath sharp and ragged. She was an alien woman, her skin shimmering faintly with a soft green glow, her limbs moving with unnatural speed. But even her grace could not hide the fear in her eyes. Behind her, dark shapes moved swiftly, hunters, relentless and merciless. She stumbled over jagged rocks, pain shooting through her leg. She had been wounded in the last attack, barely escaping death. Her pursuers were getting closer, their low growls echoing across the valley. The alien woman's heart pounded in her chest. She knew she could not outrun them forever. Suddenly, a shadow darted across the rocks ahead. A human figure appeared, a man in rugged space armor, his eyes scanning the terrain. He moved with purpose, not fear. For a moment, the alien woman froze, unsure if he was friend or foe. But her instincts screamed at her, he was not like the others. He offered a hand, steady and calm. "You need to hide," he said, his voice low but firm. "I can help you." Hope sparked inside her. She hesitated for a heartbeat, then ran toward him. Pain flared in her leg, but she pushed forward, driven by the thought of survival. Together, they ducked behind jagged cliffs, breathing heavily. The hunters had not yet noticed them. The human quickly examined her wound. "It's deep, but we can manage," he said. He tore a strip from his shirt and pressed it to the cut. "We need to move before they find us." The alien woman nodded, gratitude mixing with wariness. She had seen many humans in her life, some cruel, some indifferent. But this one, this human, radiated courage and determination. She did not know his name, but for the first time in hours, she felt a sliver of safety. The sounds of pursuit grew louder. The hunters were closing in, their numbers more than she had first realized. They were not just chasing her, they wanted to capture her alive. She remembered the horrors she had witnessed, prisoners taken, never to return. The human's presence gave her strength. Together, they could fight. "Can you run?" he asked, his gaze sharp. Yes," she gasped, clutching her wounded leg. "Then follow my lead," he said. He pulled out a small device from his belt and pressed it. A shimmering field appeared around them, hiding them for a few precious moments. "This will give us a short head start. After that, we have to be smart." She watched as the human led her through narrow rock paths, moving silently despite the rough terrain. Every step was tense, every shadow could hide danger. The alien woman felt her chest tighten, her pulse quicken. She had never seen a human act like this, not in the tales she had heard, not in the warnings she had been given. As they rounded a sharp cliff, the hunters finally appeared in sight. They were monstrous in size, with armor plating that glinted under the pale starlight. Their eyes burned with hunger and determination. One of them let out a roar, and the sound echoed like thunder. The alien woman froze, fear gripping her again. The human put a hand on her shoulder. "Move," he whispered. "Trust me." They darted down a narrow canyon, rocks scraping against their bodies. The hunters followed, but the field from the device flickered and then disappeared. They were exposed. The alien woman felt her stomach drop. They were outnumbered, but not hopeless. The human threw a small, glowing orb ahead. It exploded in a burst of light and smoke, confusing the hunters and slowing their advance. The alien woman gasped. What is that?" "Human tech," he said with a half-smile, though his eyes never stopped scanning for threats. "It buys us time." They continued running, side by side, the alien woman leaning heavily on him. She did not know how long she could keep up. Pain stabbed through her body, but the thought of capture pushed her onward. She had to survive. She had to trust him. Finally, they reached a small ridge overlooking a valley filled with strange, luminescent plants. The human helped her to a patch of soft moss. They crouched, hidden from view. The alien woman's breaths came in sharp gasps. She looked at him, gratitude and fear mingling in her eyes. "You saved me," she whispered. He shook his head. "We're not safe yet. But we will be. I promise." Above them, the stars continued to shine, indifferent to their struggle. Below, the hunters roared in frustration, unable to locate their prey. The alien woman pressed herself closer to the human, and for the first time in days, she felt a glimmer of hope. But the night was far from over, and the dangers they faced were only beginning. The valley below shimmered with an eerie, green light. Strange, luminescent plants swayed gently in the alien breeze, casting long shadows over the rocky ground. The alien woman pressed herself closer to the human ally, her body still trembling from pain and exhaustion. Her eyes darted nervously across the valley, scanning for the hunters that had been relentless in their pursuit. "They won't give up so easily," she whispered. The human shook his head. "No, they won't. But there's a place ahead. A sanctuary. We can rest there and plan our next move." He gestured toward a narrow passage between two jagged cliffs. The alien woman followed, limping slightly, trusting his guidance. Every step was tense, every sound amplified in the quiet night. The air smelled of minerals and ozone, a stark reminder of how alien this world truly was. As they moved deeper into the canyon, the human spoke in a low voice. "You need to tell me everything. Who they are, and why they're after you." The alien woman swallowed hard. She had been trained to hide her true self, even from allies. But this human, he had already risked his life to save hers. Perhaps he could be trusted. "They call themselves the KRYTH," she began. "They are hunters, but not like any predators you know. They take pride in capturing the most dangerous beings alive. And, they do not forgive failure." The human frowned. "How long have they been after you?" "3 cycles, she replied, her voice trembling. "I escaped their traps once before, but now, they're relentless. They want me because of what I carry. Something inside me, something powerful." The human's eyes narrowed. "Powerful? What kind of power?" She hesitated. The secret she carried was dangerous, even for him. But staying silent could cost her life. "It's a fragment of a star. A living energy. It can create or destroy. If it falls into their hands, everything could be lost." The human's jaw tightened. "Then we cannot let that happen. Not for a second." They reached the entrance of a hidden cave, almost invisible among the glowing plants. The human pressed a hand against the rock, and a faint hum resonated as the stone slid aside, revealing a narrow tunnel. Inside, the air was cooler, damp, but safe. They stepped in cautiously, the sounds of the valley fading behind them. Once inside, the alien woman sank to the ground, her body finally allowing itself to relax. The human knelt beside her, inspecting her wound again. "This needs more than a cloth. You can't keep moving like this." She shook her head. "We don't have time. They'll find us soon." He sighed. "Then we rest, just a little. And then we prepare. You cannot fight them alone. And I won't let you." A sudden noise echoed through the cave. Both froze. Soft footsteps, not human, approached from the darkness. The alien woman's heart skipped a beat. "They found us," she whispered. The human motioned for silence. A shadow moved closer, but it wasn't one of the KRYTH. A small, strange creature appeared, barely bigger than a fox, with translucent wings and eyes that glowed like molten gold. It stared at them, tilting its head curiously. What is that?" the alien woman asked, surprised. "Local fauna, I think," the human replied. "Or maybe, something else. Either way, it's not a threat. The creature chirped softly and darted deeper into the cave. The human and the alien woman exchanged a glance. Somehow, they were not alone in this hidden sanctuary. Something else lived here. Something that might help, or warn them. As they settled near a pool of glowing water, the alien woman's thoughts drifted. The fragment of the star inside her pulsed faintly, almost in tune with the strange cave. She had felt its power awaken as the hunters drew near. But she did not know how to control it, or if it could truly protect them. The human studied her, noticing the subtle glow beneath her skin. "You're more than what I imagined," he said softly. "But we'll face them together. You and I. And whatever else this cave holds." Outside, the winds howled across the valley. The hunters were not far behind, relentless and cruel. Inside the cave, hope flickered like the bioluminescent plants, fragile but real. The alien woman and the human knew that the night ahead would be their test, the first of many. And in the shadows, something ancient stirred, drawn to the energy she carried. Its intentions were unclear. But one thing was certain, their journey had only just begun. The cave was silent now, but the air was thick with tension. The alien woman sat near the glowing pool, her hands pressed against her leg, wincing at the pain. The human kept watch at the entrance, his eyes scanning the darkness beyond. Every shadow seemed alive, every whisper of wind a threat. The valley outside was dangerous, but inside, the unknown was even more unsettling. She looked at him, worry etched across her glowing features. "They're still out there. They'll never stop." He nodded. "I know. But we have something they don't. You." Her heart skipped a beat. The fragment of the star within her pulsed faintly, and she felt a strange warmth. She didn't understand it, but instinct told her it was powerful, enough to turn the tide. Yet, fear gnawed at her. What if she couldn't control it? What if it destroyed them instead of saving them? A sudden rustling echoed from the cave's shadows. Both froze. The small creature with translucent wings had returned, hovering in the air, its golden eyes staring directly at the alien woman. It let out a soft, melodic sound, almost like a warning. The human's hand went to his weapon. "Stay calm. Let's see what it wants." The creature darted forward, then paused near the glowing pool. Its wings reflected the light, casting strange patterns across the walls. Then, it touched the water with its tiny paw. The pool shimmered, and a faint image appeared in the water, a vision of a distant planet, a massive star, and creatures like the KRYTH hunting relentlessly. The alien woman gasped. "It's showing us, the future? Or maybe, the past of this fragment." The human's eyes widened. "We're not just running from them. This fragment, it's important. Powerful. Dangerous. And they want it for something far worse than capturing you." Suddenly, the cave shook. Dust and small stones fell from the ceiling. Outside, a roar echoed through the valley, louder than any they had heard before. The KRYTH had found the cave. They were close, closer than either of them had imagined. The alien woman's pulse raced. "We have to leave. Now." The human grabbed her hand. "Wait. We can't run blindly. They'll follow us wherever we go. We need a plan." She glanced around the cave. There were tunnels leading deeper into the darkness, twisting paths that could confuse their pursuers. But she also felt a strange pull from the glowing pool, the star fragment reacting to something in the cave. Without thinking, she stepped toward it. The water's glow intensified, bathing her in light. The fragment within her resonated, and she felt a surge of energy, warm, powerful, alive. Images flashed in her mind, battles fought across stars, civilizations rising and falling, and a choice she would have to make soon. The human watched, awe and fear in his eyes. It's reacting to you. Whatever this fragment is, it's waiting for you to control it. But before she could comprehend it, the cave entrance exploded with a crash. The KRYTH had broken through, their massive forms filling the mouth of the tunnel. Shadows stretched across the walls, sharp and threatening. Their glowing eyes locked on the alien woman and the human. The human stepped in front of her, weapon raised. "Run," he shouted, grabbing her arm. "I'll hold them off." "No. We fight, together," she cried, surprising herself with her sudden courage. The KRYTH advanced, claws scraping stone, growls echoing like thunder. The alien woman felt the fragment pulse stronger than ever. Heat surged through her body, and a wave of light erupted from her, blinding the hunters and throwing them back. Rocks lifted, glowing energy sparking in the air. The cave trembled as if alive, responding to her power. The human shielded his eyes, stunned. You did that?" "I think. I can control it," she whispered, her voice trembling but filled with determination. The KRYTH roared in fury, regrouping for another attack. But the alien woman no longer felt helpless. She had discovered a fragment of her true strength, and now, with the human by her side, she could face the hunters. Outside, the valley lay under the light of 2 moons, silent for a moment, as if holding its breath. Inside, in the depths of the glowing cave, a human and an alien woman stood together, ready to fight for survival, and for the fate of a power that could change the universe. And in the shadows, unseen, something ancient and powerful watched, waiting for the right moment to intervene. The cave trembled under the alien woman's sudden surge of energy. Rocks tumbled from the ceiling, glowing pools shimmered violently, and the air itself seemed to hum with power. The human crouched, shielding his face, his heart pounding, not just from fear, but from awe. He had fought wars, faced ruthless criminals, even alien predators, but nothing like this. The alien woman's hands glowed, pulsing in rhythm with the fragment inside her chest. Her breaths were shallow, yet her mind sharpened. She could feel the fragment responding to her will, bending the environment around her. Shadows twisted, dust swirled, and the cave seemed alive, protecting her, or testing her. "The KRYTH won't stop," she gasped. "They will follow, even through fire and stone." "I know," the human said, rising beside her. "But now, you have a chance to change this. Use it wisely." She stared at him, uncertainty clouding her glowing eyes. The fragment had shown her glimpses of devastation, the KRYTH's conquest across countless worlds, their cruelty unmatched. But also glimpses of hope, civilizations saved by one brave act, a spark that could ignite resistance. Could she truly be that spark? The cave mouth shook again. The KRYTH pressed forward, their monstrous forms blotting out the twin moons outside. Their growls rattled the rocks, and one of them spoke in a harsh, guttural tone, a command that made the air thrum with threat. The human raised his weapon. "They're strong. Too strong for me alone." "You don't understand," she said, her voice trembling but gaining strength. This fragment is part of me. If I let it flow through me completely, I can stop them." Energy surged up her arms. Her skin shimmered brighter, almost blinding the human. She felt every cell in her body vibrate with life and power, and for the first time, fear was replaced with determination. A massive KRYTH lunged, claws raised, eyes burning red. Time seemed to slow. She extended her hands, and a wave of radiant energy erupted, throwing the hunter back against the rock wall. Its armor cracked under the force, sparks flying. The human caught his breath, stunned. You did that." She nodded, realizing she could control it, at least partially. Each movement, each thought, channeled the fragment's energy. Rocks rose like sentinels, forming barriers. Glowing beams shot forward, knocking the KRYTH off balance. The air sizzled with power. But the fragment was not just a weapon, it was alive. It pulsed with desire, urging her to push further, to unleash more. She felt her mind teeter on the edge, knowing one wrong move could consume everything. The human shouted, "Control it. Don't let it take you." Her eyes locked on him, grounding herself. "I won't. But I have to stop them, now." With a roar that echoed across the valley, the alien woman extended her hands fully. A blinding wave of light shot from her body, engulfing the KRYTH. They screamed, clawing at the ground, thrown backward by the sheer force of the power. One by one, their numbers faltered, retreating under the might of the fragment's energy. When the light faded, silence fell. The cave trembled, but the KRYTH were gone, for now. Outside, the twin moons shone gently on the valley, untouched by the battle that had just raged. The human stepped closer, placing a hand on her shoulder. "You saved us. Both of us. That was incredible." She sank to the ground, exhaustion pulling at her limbs. Her glowing faded, and the fragment pulsed softly within her chest. She had survived, but she knew this was only the beginning. The KRYTH would return, stronger, more prepared. And the fragment, its power had awakened something deeper inside her. The cave seemed to sigh, the small translucent creature returning to hover nearby. Its golden eyes shimmered knowingly, as if it understood the magnitude of what had just happened. The human crouched beside her, studying her carefully. "You're not just running anymore. You're fighting. And with that power, you might just be unstoppable." The alien woman looked at the glowing pools, at the fragment's soft pulse beneath her skin. She felt both fear and hope. Fear of what she could lose, hope for what she could protect. Together with the human, she could face anything, even the relentless KRYTH. Above them, the stars sparkled, silent witnesses to the awakening of a force that could change the fate of countless worlds. And in the shadows, something ancient stirred, aware of her growing strength, watching, waiting, for the moment it could test her again. The night had only begun, but one truth was clear: the chase was over, for now. The real battle, the one that would decide the fate of the galaxy, was about to begin. The alien woman's body ached, but her mind was sharp. The fragment's energy still pulsed inside her, a quiet heartbeat beneath her skin. The human stood beside her, scanning the valley through his binocular visor. The KRYTH were regrouping, their massive forms silhouetted against the twin moons, moving with calculated precision. They had not forgotten. They had not forgiven. "We can't stay here," the human said, his voice firm. "They'll come back stronger. We need to move, fast." She nodded, struggling to rise. Pain stabbed through her leg, but the fragment's energy coursed like a lifeline. She could feel its warmth guiding her steps, making her faster, stronger. She had learned, just barely, to channel it, not fully, but enough to survive. The human pulled out a compact, advanced map device. "There's a hidden canyon network nearby. It's old, pre-KRYTH, uncharted. We can use it to lose them, maybe even trap them." Her eyes widened. "Trap them? How?" He tapped the device. "The terrain there is dangerous. Steep cliffs, sudden drops, unstable rocks. If we lure them in, they could be contained. Or at least slowed." The alien woman's heart raced. Danger, yes, but finally a plan. A way to fight back. They moved through the valley, shadows hugging them, the KRYTH's low roars echoing like a storm behind. Every step was tense, every flicker of movement made her pulse spike. They reached the entrance to the canyon network, a jagged maw of stone that seemed to disappear into darkness. As they entered, the human glanced back. "Ready?" She nodded, summoning the fragment's energy. Her hands glowed faintly, guiding her steps. The cave walls seemed to respond to her presence, almost bending light and shadow around them. She was not just running, she was shaping their path, creating small advantages for every step they took. Suddenly, a massive KRYTH appeared at the canyon mouth. Its eyes glowed crimson, teeth bared, claws scraping stone. Its roar shook the air. Behind it, others began to pour in, relentless as ever. "Hold on," the human shouted. He drew a small pulse rifle, firing into the rocky walls to create barriers and distractions. Sparks flew, rocks tumbled, and the KRYTH staggered, but they did not stop. The alien woman extended her hands, unleashing bursts of the fragment's energy. Rocks lifted, creating temporary shields, glowing beams cut through the darkness, forcing the KRYTH to falter. For a moment, it seemed as though the hunters would be repelled. But then, one of the largest KRYTH leaped forward, its claws tearing through stone and light. She barely dodged, stumbling against the human. Pain shot through her leg again, but she forced herself upright. The fragment responded, a pulse of warmth and light coursing through her body. She could feel the canyon walls vibrating, almost alive, guiding her power. The human caught her hand. "We can do this. Trust me. Trust yourself." She met his gaze, and something shifted inside her. Fear remained, yes, but determination burned brighter. They moved as one, weaving through the narrow canyon, leading the KRYTH deeper, where the terrain was more dangerous, more unpredictable. Rocks began to shift beneath the KRYTH's weight, narrow ledges collapsing, forcing them to slow. The fragment's energy pulsed stronger, responding to her intent. She realized she could manipulate not just the energy, but the environment around her. Rocks lifted, forming barriers, guiding the KRYTH into traps she could barely imagine. "Now," the human shouted. He fired another volley at a weak cliff, triggering a controlled collapse. A roar of fury and pain echoed as several KRYTH were trapped, pinned beneath the fallen rocks. The alien woman's chest heaved. She had done it. They had turned the hunt into a fight for survival, and they had the advantage for the first time. But the victory was fleeting. From deeper in the canyon, a shadow emerged, larger, older, and more terrifying than any KRYTH they had faced. Its eyes glowed with a strange intelligence, almost human in cunning. It stopped, observing them, waiting, calculating. The alien woman's pulse quickened. She had never felt such fear, and such curiosity, at the same time. The fragment pulsed violently within her, as though sensing the new threat. "We're not done," the human whispered, tightening his grip on her hand. "Something bigger is coming. And this is far from over." Outside, the twin moons cast silver light on the jagged canyon. Inside, a human and an alien woman stood together, hearts racing, energy pulsing, ready to face whatever came next. The chase had evolved into a war, and the true test of courage, power, and trust had only just begun. The alien woman and the human paused atop a jagged cliff, their breaths heavy in the cold, alien wind. The canyon below was a maze of broken rocks, fallen debris, and faint, glowing pools, remnants of their traps for the KRYTH. But something deeper stirred in the shadows, something older and far more dangerous than any hunter they had faced. The human scanned the horizon, his rifle at the ready. "I've never seen anything like this," he muttered. "That thing is not just a KRYTH. It's smarter, faster, and it's watching us." The alien woman's hands glowed faintly. The fragment inside her pulsed violently, sensing the presence of the new threat. Fear mixed with determination, igniting a fire within her. "It knows we're here," she whispered. "It's testing us, waiting for us to make a mistake." Suddenly, a deafening roar shook the canyon. Rocks quaked and dust swirled in massive clouds. From the darkness, the enormous shadow emerged, a KRYTH unlike any they had ever seen. Its body was sleek, almost armor-like, but glimmering with strange energy. Its eyes burned with intelligence and malice. It stepped forward deliberately, every movement radiating power and menace. The human clenched his fists. We can't outrun that. We'll have to face it. She nodded, her glowing hands raised. Then we fight. Together. The creature charged, and the ground trembled beneath its weight. The alien woman focused, letting the fragment's energy flow through her. Light surged from her body, striking the beast, but it did not falter. It seemed to absorb the energy, its glowing eyes flickering with curiosity rather than pain. The human fired at weak points in its armor, sparks flying with each hit, but the creature barely reacted. It leaped forward, claws slashing, forcing them to retreat toward a narrower section of the canyon. We need to lure it, the human shouted. Use the terrain. We can't overpower it. The alien woman's mind raced. The fragment pulsed in response, guiding her. She lifted her hands and sent waves of energy through the canyon walls, causing loose rocks to tumble and form narrow choke points. The creature slowed, trapped in the constricted path. Its roar shook the canyon, a sound that vibrated deep into their bones. But then, it did something unexpected. It raised a claw, and a surge of dark energy erupted from its body, colliding with the alien woman's light. Sparks of white and black danced across the rocks, an explosion of power that threw both her and the human to the ground. Keep going. Don't let it break through, the human shouted, pulling himself up. The alien woman gritted her teeth, pain stabbing through her leg, but she refused to yield. She called upon the fragment's full power, focusing not on attack, but on control. Waves of energy flowed through the canyon, bending the terrain subtly to her will. Rocks rose, forming walls and traps, guiding the creature exactly where she wanted. It roared again, frustrated, trapped in the maze she had created. The human seized the moment, firing at weak spots in its energy armor. Sparks flew, the creature staggered, and for the first time, it faltered. You can do this, he shouted. Focus on the fragment. Control it. She drew a deep breath, feeling the fragment's pulse synchronize with her heartbeat. A bright, blinding light exploded from her hands, the walls of the canyon shaking violently. The creature shrieked, thrown backward by the force, pinned momentarily under a cascade of rocks. Silence fell. Dust swirled in the air. The alien woman collapsed to her knees, exhausted but alive. The human rushed to her side. You controlled it. You really did it. She nodded weakly, her chest heaving. For now, but it's not over. Something tells me, it's only the beginning. There's more out there, and the KRYTH will not stop. Above, the twin moons cast silver light across the jagged canyon, revealing distant shadows moving in the valley. Somewhere, the remaining hunters regrouped, and a far older, more intelligent force was now aware of the fragment's awakening. The human glanced at her, determination burning in his eyes. Whatever comes next, we face it together. You, me, and the fragment. We can survive this. And we can fight back. Harder than they've ever imagined. The alien woman looked at the glowing fragment beneath her skin. Its pulse was strong, alive, almost sentient. She felt hope for the first time in cycles of fear and flight. Together, they had survived impossible odds, awakened a hidden power, and turned the tide against their relentless pursuers. Yet, in the shadows, something ancient stirred. It had been watching, learning. The final challenge loomed, one that would test not just their strength, but their courage, trust, and the very essence of the alien woman's power. The night deepened. The wind whispered through the canyon. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the true enemy waited. The canyon lay quiet, but the silence was deceptive. The alien woman stood beside the human, her chest glowing faintly as the fragment pulsed with energy. They had survived countless attacks, navigated deadly terrain, and faced the relentless KRYTH, but the final threat had yet to arrive. From the shadows of the canyon, a deep rumble echoed. A massive silhouette emerged, larger and more terrifying than any Kryth they had fought. Its armor shimmered with dark energy, and its eyes glowed with intelligence that chilled the blood. This was no ordinary hunter, it was the Alpha, the one that had orchestrated the pursuit, the creature that had been tracking the fragment across galaxies. The human raised his weapon, but even he knew this was no ordinary fight. "We can't beat it with bullets," he said, gripping her hand. This is on you." The alien woman swallowed, feeling the fragment's pulse intensify. Its energy surged through her veins like wildfire. She closed her eyes, focusing, feeling every beat, every pulse, every vibration of the fragment. It was alive. It trusted her. And now, she had to trust herself. The Alpha lunged, moving faster than the eye could follow. Rocks splintered under its claws. Its roar shook the canyon, echoing like a war drum. The human darted to her side. "Use the fragment. Don't hold back." She extended her hands, releasing a wave of blinding energy. The Alpha roared in fury, absorbing part of it, but her control was stronger now. The fragment responded to her intent, bending light, shaping rocks, and forming barriers that blocked the creature's path. Sparks of energy collided, shaking the ground beneath them. The human fired at weak spots in the Alpha's armor whenever he saw an opening, striking precisely, working as one with her. Their synergy was undeniable, human ingenuity and alien power combined. Slowly, the Alpha faltered, its confidence wavering. But the fragment pulsed uncontrollably now. She felt its power surge beyond her control, threatening to consume everything around her. Fear gripped her. I can't hold it," she shouted. The human grabbed her hands. "You can. Focus. Trust yourself. Trust the fragment." She took a deep breath, centering herself. Memories of their journey flashed through her mind, the run across the rocky plains, the hidden sanctuary, the first battle with the Kryth, the narrow escapes, the bond they had formed. Hope, fear, determination, all coalesced into one powerful intention: protect life, survive, and fight for freedom. The fragment's energy responded, glowing brighter, calmer. She directed it like a river, shaping it into a massive wave of radiant light that surged toward the Alpha. The ground quaked, rocks shattered, and a deafening roar echoed as the Alpha was thrown back, pinned against a wall by pure force. Sparks of its dark energy fizzled under the overwhelming light. The human stepped forward, firing at the final weak point in its armor. The Alpha shrieked, its power cracking, until with one final roar, it collapsed, defeated but alive, battered and broken, retreating into the shadows. Silence fell over the canyon. Dust and light settled, and the fragment's glow softened. The alien woman sank to her knees, exhausted but victorious. The human knelt beside her, gently brushing dust from her shoulder. You did it," he said, awe in his voice. "You controlled it, and we survived. Together." She looked down at the fragment, still glowing faintly beneath her skin. It pulsed softly, a heartbeat in sync with her own. She had discovered the full extent of her power, learned to control it, and realized that she was not alone. Human courage and companionship had made the impossible possible. Beyond the canyon, the stars shone brighter than ever. The Kryth hunters were gone for now, and the Alpha had retreated, but she knew the universe still held dangers. Yet, hope had been forged in fire and darkness. She was no longer just fleeing, she was fighting, leading, and surviving. The human smiled. "Where to next?" he asked. She looked at him, the fragment's glow reflecting in her eyes. "Forward," she said. "Always forward. Together." And as they moved toward the horizon, the twin moons lighting their path, the canyon seemed to hum in quiet approval. The chase was over, but the journey had only begun. The fragment pulsed once more, a promise of power, protection, and an uncertain future. Somewhere out there, new challenges awaited, but with courage, unity, and trust, the human and the alien woman were ready for anything. The stars above bore witness to the beginning of a legend, the story of a human ally and a powerful alien woman, survivors, warriors, and champions in a universe that had never seen anything like them.